Welcome to another Rolmo video from Jnanasukha. We are so pleased today to be with Tulku Orgyen, Zangpo Rinpoche, and Lama Detu Nyeshe Rolmo, who will translate. Today, Rinpoche will share with us about one of his heart teachers, Khandro Tare Lhamo, a very famous Tibetan female master from eastern Tibet. That is it's not really known here in the West. Huh? So, Rinpoche, can you share with us about Khandro Tare Lhamo's birth and childhood?
Khandro Tare Lhamo, Chikton, Luigya, and Simchu Sorgip, the Bala, Kutunre, Kutunsade, Wood Harsho, and Molok, only Gumbaz, the Lala, Kutunre. The Mazil Kongo, Hayab did in Muxerica, Rinzin, and Ribanzamba, Derton, Chibiwan, Chimbo, Sanland, and Upon Derton, Orgyen,
So yes, Tare Lhamo was born in 1938, and she was born in eastern Tibet in an area called Golok. And she was born, her father was a realized master of awareness and a treasure revealer by the name of Apon Terchen. And his treasure revealer name was Orgyen Drodo Lingpa. And so yes, she was born as the daughter of a realized master and treasure revealer.
Dawa Kashigi, the Chongtong in Hona Bayaga Cooper Donjiba, Tasala Peru. Near Tasani, Rinpoche Mondo, Tucson, Mixergitani, Khandro Yikin Soldier, Tare Lhamo, Jayamba, and Munzona, the mother Kunso, the Nyamda, Tasa, the Chok, Joe, the Tana, Shundu, the Mao Khandro Tare Lhamo, Damba, the
So shortly after birth, when she was still a baby, she traveled with her parents, her father and her mother. They went to Lhasa, so that's a very long trip from Golok to Lhasa. And it was in Lhasa that they met many other realized lamas who immediately recognized Khandro Tare Lhamo as an emanation of Khandro Yeshe Tsogyal. So immediately after that, then they went to the Jokan temple in Lhasa, and they offered many prayers that Khandro Tare Lhamo's activity to benefit the Dharma, to benefit beings, would be very successful. So this all, the recognition of her as an emanation of Yeshe Tsogyal happened in Lhasa.
Rolmo, Yansamba, Mambo Shonyori, then the TGs, Kung Hassan, Yavin Cooper Donjiba, Man Golola Herb, then the Pio, then the Abon Rinpoche, Gondani, Wang Dong, Long Dong, Chip, and Shumon, Kongo, Gio, Tari, Mother Kongo, Pio, Gondani, Dance, then the Tonjon, Shadow, then the G's, then the low Gula Head, Kongo, Gula Head tea.
So also at the time of Khandro Tare Lhamo's birth, there were signs that she was a very special incarnation. There were rainbows in the sky and fragrant scents in the air. This also indicated that she was an incarnation. So after they left Lhasa and they went back to Golok, and there in Golok, she received the transmissions, the empowerments and teachings from her father, Apon Terchen. And that's where she did her Dharma studies, was with her father. Then unfortunately, when she was 9 years old, her father passed away, passed into Nirvana.
Volata da Samsala Chemo Bolore Chumambo Kuni Tola Juson. Oh yeah, the Jesus. The Kuniga Tavio Mat, the dog catching Yapson, when you get there's a Kuniga protection. Then go out and they connected the navigation. The Letizia Congo Doyam Sambaji Lonson, the Nicola, the Congo Nyarson, Congo Pad, Yuxon Kula, no idea. Then Yoma, then someone Yarwin is come now. Then they Congo, the do the remney Sonson. They Congo Amala at the time, and you don't mixer what they're on your and Ala Sesonze. Amago pay for it, Tinola Vam, the Khandro Yakim, so the story to your Vam Zison for the dog, and then mix it the door that dog or move board, I have there, and they jumped out and they pay for it. And then the Amago, Lama Mo, the Nikiran, and the Yakim Soldier, and I'm sure there's the music, that temporary for it. Kerang di do de nyargori ni kawaji ni do de kele tana yeborela so.
So after her father Apantaratan passed into nirvana, she continued to live with her mom, and then somewhere around the age of 18, she traveled with her mother to go to Dodrupchen Rinpoche's monastery. And on the road or on the way when they were walking, they were like attacked by a pack of wild dogs. Wild Tibetan dogs came. And they were just two women by themselves out in the middle of nowhere. They didn't know how to protect themselves. So all they could do is pick up some stones and throw stones at the dog. So they're picking up stones and maybe throwing inside the mind of Khandro Tare Lhamo, whether she was throwing a stone or not. Somehow she just went into a state of consciousness. She wasn't sure what was happening. But later, obviously, I guess they got away from the dogs. And then that night when she went to bed and took her robes off, discovered stones inside like the pocket of her robe, and oh my goodness, and here are these stones. And then her mother looked at one particular stone and said and this particular stone was marked or inscribed with the mantric seed syllable of Yeshe Tsogyal, a letter bomb. So right away her mother again understood that Khandro Tare Lhamo was an emanation of Yeshe Tsogyal, and said, this stone is so important, you need to wear it next to your body. So they put it inside a gao or a locket. And Tare Lhamo then began to wear this locket all the time.
Dolatini. Oh yeah, dog Kindra Oshini. If they don't get that, the Toma de Oyinsari, Tare Lhamo, the Toma, there's long and the Toma inside it, and they do it, and they drum the Sini. These Jin Denda go wonky, con, the Yam dance for why she down the moon, the Ranjan cook, Cheo Sare, con the Tujilla, Mazet, the Nicola, the Samsung la Tabi no Andamanda, Wanda or Sharia, the Mazet, Janji, some Shibala, so but I Yundan Mons, you Nermit Yundan Mons, you don't cook on your race.
So this rock was actually a treasure or a tear, and based on the principle of interdependence through her connection with this special treasure rock, then her life changed. Her mind and realization expanded. She had many visions or pure visions. She had extrasensory perceptions, and a great amount of compassion swelled from her heart. So all of this transformative experiences came from her connection with this very special treasure rock.
And it is cultural
revolution.
Absolutely. Mukela so Batana Mongo, Sama, Bekana Diatini, the Zama, Teziona, Kongo Shingi, Labtani, Mombo, so I don't Zama Tezimena, Zama Zama Tezana, the need to Komoto and our Tezi Kongo, the Momo Latinistana, Robada, Shares on the Haliba Kongo, Nyonji Chimbo, Tabra than the Majanla. The Ropa Shendo, the Data or a mixer wadi con a simple chimbo, Roba Shayala, the little and the Unicongo, Khandro in the
So then it was just shortly after this that the Cultural Revolution arrived into that part of Tibet. And during that beginning of the Cultural Revolution period, there was a famine in that area. And so the people were starving to death. And Tare Lhamo they looked towards her for help, and she had great compassion for everyone who was suffering in this way. And through her powers, she was able to feed people during the famine. For example, if there was just a little bit of food, she was able to multiply it and then give it to lots of people. Or even if there was just a little bit of food without multiplying it, if somebody ate that, they would be completely satiated. So in this way, during the Cultural Revolution, she played a very important role to help the people get through this very difficult experience. So then towards the next major step in her life was meeting with her destined or spiritual consort, or her husband, who was ran by the name of Namtrul Jimmy Rinpoche. So they met, and Namtrul Rinpoche had a monastery called Nyalong. So So then they began to be like a husband and wife spiritual team, giving empowerments and teachings. And then Khandro Tare Lhamo would write on the paper some symbolic Dakini script. And then based on that, Namtrul Jimmy Rinpoche was able to understand the Dakini script and transcribe that, for example, into meditation sadhanas and so on. So then together they revealed or opened up many treasures in this way. So they continued to travel around in Tibet and teaching, giving empowerment, gathering disciples, and they also traveled to China, and they also had a collection of their own writings, their own collected works. And in their own collected works, there is one volume called Khandro Ting Barma, which is roughly the Dakini blue blazing light. And this is a volume of Dharma teachings they compiled. And then the second volume is called Pamotuptik, so Heart Essence of Varahi. And so in their lifetimes, they had their own collected writings, as well as their treasures, and they traveled giving empowerments and teachings. And so this was not texts that were left on the shelf, but actually everybody in their area got to receive the transmission and do the practice.
Wonderful. She's also famous for having a special ability with nuts. Can you share with us the story?
Khandro Tare Lhamo 요르거든요. 라마 미도 Khandro 슬라야 메비 catch 요레데. 가레레데 콩거든요. shirdan wola tene mdet batani ndayaga songa kamna yoyore mdet batani kondet tsendet tene dana damanda mdet bandama ndayaga tene deshu chabi kamna yoyore shinji lab ken tene musirga Tare Lhamo tene mdet batanda tronda tsendet baso batanda nagan damanda tene jatamba mdetigi yore jatamba tene mdetigi yore ni Homa so tendam the shinkan the Bola Lama Khandro to the Homa. That is a moment damn that jam that you're raising to that course mix it with the
So, treasure revelations are not only about text, they're also objects and many different things. And so, yes, Khandro Tare Lhamo had this special treasure or ability that had to do with technology of tying knots with a string. And actually she had 100 different knots that she would tie. And with these knots, then each of these knots would give a special benefit, for example, long life, or if you were sick, or if you had obstacle, or if you wanted a son or a daughter, all these things. There were 100 different kinds of knots. So this was very unique and special, sort of like a treasure that she had to do this with the knots.
And then she's also very accomplished and very famous for her passing into Nirvana. Can you share with us this story?
Yeah, Kondani Pacher Chiton or Mari Nifton Nigolo Yamerla Warda Company, Kozuya Bore, Kondani Shirdan Yojamo Yo Mari, Varla Kongo Zamlam Jutan, Zamlam Tanjini, Khandro Dergan, the Konda, Jordan, Ladan, the Lashik, Madrid, Lutsk. Khandro derga lala tene o danche tene magayor ni rodan sama chongsa de dan Khandro ni la pebore de tanga kunga la tene ta doha sing lo Khandro na go doha kan tanda zamlam ji yo sa de tene shokba de kongyo de sim de tu de zum saro de not comfortable a little bit then he Rinpoche there is a jiwa de shokba the Zanglam Tong, Mr. Rinpoche, Hashingaya Tendra Nanjin, Chikba Nanjin, Zamlam Yore, Tendi, Naran Sude, the Kella, Japan, the Kella, the Long Lap, Prayer, Tendam, Shena Yobo, Chishina, Puchella, Vasi Yore, Tendason, Jesus, the Dawakashi, and the Kashi, Nikonde, the Nason, the Jnanasukha, the Mankan Yore. Mazet de bomba mon consolar long bomba
So, yes, one part that I forgot to say before, I just want to make it clear. So the husband and wife team, it's really beautiful. She was the treasure revealer, and her husband was emanated master. And they worked together, so she would bring treasure and he would transcribe that for everybody. But as far as the story of passing away, her whole life, she was very healthy and strong, no indication that, of old age and about to die. But then suddenly it did start to come to her in dreams and kind of a discomfort in her mind that maybe something was coming along in this way. And so she had dreams. And her husband, Namcho Rinpoche, went to Jigme Punso Rinpoche to confer about these signs that were starting to come, that she would be leaving the world. And they did agree that, yes, this was happening, and then she went for medical help to the hospital, but this didn't help, and then they did prayers to prolong her life, but there was no signs that this was really going to succeed. So there were definitely, the lamas knew that the Dakinis would be coming to take her away.
sama yabo napsu ujai ho zoso tani konga tanga do mari tani nyani dinore ina ya tani ni oma samala Terence of Shadow nuni tani dikten de nama de gibi tabada tamba yoma de sama mastaba tarawshinge tani nuni tani ngaran su tani don dang ba nyong yo ba de chu nyam ne shya da chu ye bo tani nyam ne shya de kar chimbore tani maze keran su tani napro junior pontoram bo nuni tar geshin satang damba maze kone tani nuni haliba ga nyam dang to ba yiki bundan chimbo yosa tani tumi kum sho mixer wa de tani keran chu ye bo circola jashi da bo jambore Hashade Kongo, Yako Mother or Hashada, there's a muscle. And it did you call some you jump in the Yan in the Banana, Joy Basala, and Yan in the
So then it was generally agreed upon that she would soon be passing away, so she put on some very beautiful clothing one day and ornamented her hair for a special occasion, and she brought together her disciples and she gave them her heart advice and told them to practice well, and they beseeched her to please return, to be reborn quickly, and that was the last meeting, I guess, that she had, and then she went and lay down on her side in the proper dying position, and she passed away into nirvana in that fashion.
Rolmo Damada Victoria, Mother Tani, good in a hackle of the Sham Selayora, the Tunda, the Turbano, the Metal of Charambas, Mixer.
As soon as Khandro Tare Lhamo passed away, the color of her body became like white, very beautiful, white and shining, and her body was very fragrant. And so there were these signs then of her realization. Then they took her body, her holy body, her kudon, to Nyalung Monastery. And there in the Nyalung Monastery for a period of time, her body was displayed. And when a realized master passes into nirvana or dies, there are several ways this can manifest, with signs or without signs. And in the case of Tare Lhamo, then we say she manifested into the rainbow body, so with a sign. So at the time of her cremation, then there were all the signs of the realization of a master of great perfection, of Zangpo Jempo, such as rainbows in the skies, and nitok flowers, raining down flowers, and all these special signs of her realization as a master of great perfection.
중이 죽음라 공소람 비라신 거를 뒤지서 당신 중에 본소 세달랑 하던 거를 그나들이 맞춰놨더니 뒤지서더니 말아 가리라 그래.
So one more thing I'm going to do. Before the cremation, the holy remains of her body, according to the Great Perfection practice, began to shrink. And so finally it was the size of the body was no more than like from your fingertips to the elbow, and actually the body would be placed on a plate. In that way, and then on a plate offered up for the cremation, and also for the benefit of her students to see this. So in this way, then she passed away according to the teachings of Great Perfection. And Rinpoche added that he first met Khandro Tare Lhamo when he was 14. Rinpoche was studying.
Under the 14.
A little bit left.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah. After 10 years old.
When you're 10, I think.
Yeah, then between 14 and Chaji Yabongara Yahore, and the Jisung of Seta Lavendroson, and the Koni Lord Gide. The Dine Kamala Chuda Wang from Virayore, and the Jisung of Seta Lavendori, and the Mombos and Jerry Kota Yomas, and the Lord Yusibji Yakmokabo.
So you met Tare Lhamo somewhere between 10 and
14, yeah.
14. Somewhere between the age of 10 and 14.
That's when he spent time with him.
Yes, that's when he first met Khandro Tare Lhamo, and then he received from Khandro Tare Lhamo empowerments and teachings.
Yeah.
So you consider Tare Lhamo one of your root teachers?
I
have a lot of faith in Khandro Tare Lhamo.
Khandro Tare Lhamo Khandro la shirdan de rig khsam go yore. And in Khandro Tare Lhamo de nkhki ku Khandro ma. Ying yore kong de phayab de rigwan jamba. Ta ba ke tung timo de nkhki ku Khandro ma re. Sanchi ku Khandro ma ying yore. Kong yekim sol je de na sur ying yore. Ni jang ki ku Khandro ma ying yore. Ni savji de ni nani de ni wo yang de ni ti ying yore. Dina la ke de. Nisam Jim Khandro Mango, Shudun by the Tare Lhamo, Yankee, the landing ala Mixer, Tapa Chamboyo, the landing in Mala Mixer, Matse, Litula, Tapayos, Sayula Maxamu, Tare Lhamo down, the name Quantum Jingo Ponsoda, Darton, Gargon Rinpoche, Ponso Mixer, Mixer, Sayula, the Peosi.
So yes, I have a lot of faith in Khandro Tare Lhamo for a very specific reason. It's taught there are three kinds of dakinis. There are those that become dakinis because they're born as the daughter of a realized master. So this was the case for Tare Lhamo. Her father was Abin Terten. So by birth, she was a dakini. Then she is a dakini in the second category about being born in a holy place, because Tibet is a holy place. So she's also recognized as a dakini by birth. And then she's a co-emergent dakini, meaning that she was born already with a wisdom realized mind. So of these three types of dakinis, then Tare Lhamo embodies all of these three in one person. So it's because of that too that I have a lot of faith in Khandro Tare Lhamo, who is one of my root teachers, along with Khenpo Jigme Kunsok, and the third root lama is Tatong Galong. So, thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you, Rinpoche.